that fucking thing here in the studio. My boy's got to go.
No worries, man. No worries. If my dog chewing his bone in the background is too loud, let me know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Sober Swole podcast. My name is Jake Howard.
Chocolate and vanilla.
I fucking love this. I'm sorry. I do. I fucking love this thing. What's up, everybody?
Oh, you'll have to explain that to him. But
I will.
before we introduce our special guest this evening, I'd like to give a shout out to Royalty Nutrition. That's royaltynutrition.com. And to help me out with that, as always, is Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Royalty Nutrition. Check them out. They are a veteran-owned and operated supplement company that doesn't automatically go to use the cheapest ingredient while making their supplements for you. Use the discount code 37HJKE to save you 15% on your entire order. My next shout out of the evening will be to Gorilla Gains. That's gorilla-gains with the Z.com. They are a fitness apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym. And they make great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. Use discount code JAKE15 to save you 15% on your entire order. Recover from your surgery well, Mr. Taylor. I know you'll be back smashing weights here soon. DJ Swirl, tell him about the voodoo that is Bye-to-Bye.
The voodoo. So if you find yourself in a store or you're shopping online and you bit off more than you can chew, you don't have the time, tone, or muscle to move it, you give us a call. We take care of you from the time you buy until the time we say goodbye. That is the practical, keep my old ass in shape side of the business. This is the content creation side of the business. So if you have a show like our guest tonight and it's audio only, guess what? We can help elevate your brand, get it on a visual, get the visual aid out there, and upload it to where it needs to be for people to see you. If you don't like your face, I can't help that. I share that with our guests. I'm not a fan of my face still. I'm still not. I've worked on a few things, but I got filters, I guess. By to Buy Studios. You can reach us at bytobuy.com/studios. Hit us up with any kind of, if you're just starting out, like our guest was 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Oh no, we've been.
Oh, we're talking about
We're talking about
guest we
fit
haven't.
for love.
No, Danny. Shh.
Oh.
No, Nikki Cadman and
Yep.
her friend, they are starting a podcast called the Untitled Podcast, and we were on a 3.5 hour marathon session with them, and yeah, never again. Hard boundaries coming next time. Had a great time. Hard boundaries coming next time. Anyway, Jake, introduce the people to our guest tonight.
Well, our guest tonight, I also do a show with him called For the Love of Fit. His name is Danny Blake. He is also a great coach and trainer. I met him through the FitOps Foundation when I was there being a squad leader, and he was going through the course. Good man, good guy to do a show with. We love our show. But anyway, Danny Blake.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Thank you for having me.
Didn't even get the fake applause? Dang.
I'm slipping, my bad.
Dang.
I don't even want it no more.
You hurt this man.
A little bit.
Okay.
Well, so
there we go.
we're talking about cleaning up shop around here and making this podcast itself better. One of the notes is I can no longer live Google. Has been set in stone. No more. And making more standard, what would you call them? Outlines for the show.
Yeah, just prep.
Just a little show prep. You know, stuff that I'm known for.
Yeah.
Just Danny's like, we're doing a show on this tonight. What do you know about it? Nothing. Let's go.
See, that's the beauty of our podcast. It's audio only. So when you do live Google it, honestly, no one knows. And there were times where I didn't even notice you were live Googling it until I edited it later. I'm like, and I hear typing. I'm like, that mother, he didn't even know.
Smooth.
Right.
But we're talking about branching this show out from YouTube. When we first started, we did have a SoundCloud, but we stepped away from that, and then we were on Twitch for a while, and then we found it was just easier to go strict live to YouTube because there's we got like tens more views from going straight from but we're looking to branch out maybe into like a Spotify or iTunes podcast, Google podcast, stuff like that. But one of the things that Ryan brought up was what's the thing you use?
The RSS feed.
Yeah. Your what's our sponsor?
What is our sponsor?
Danny.
There we go.
Oh, Anchor?
Anchor. Yeah, he's talking about Anchor. And I don't know how Anchor works. Ryan says he's not the biggest fan of Anchor. But I was wondering if you could give more of an insight on on Anchor for us.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, so full transparency, when we started For the Love of Fit, for recording the sound, I picked Clean Feed, and for uploading, I picked Anchor. The reason is all the digging that I did, they were the only things that were free and looked easy enough that I could handle. So there was that. Anchor is pretty solid, honestly. It's a branch of Spotify, so that gave me some comfort. It's somewhat notable or reliable at least. It is 100% free. I've never had to pay for anything. And it automatically uploads to several platforms, of which being like Spotify and there's... Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I know there are more. or you can just stream directly from the Anchor app. There are other options for Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and things like that, but you have to go through a few more processes to get to start streaming onto them. I don't believe those processes involve money, just a little bit more work on your part. As far as like uploading, super easy, super user friendly. And then after you get a certain amount of total views, they start giving you sponsorship opportunities. So for me and Jake, it was, I think it was over 100 total views or something like that, which starting off from the ground took us a little bit of time. And then the first one that came up was just sponsorship for Anchor itself, which basically is me reading a script and uploading it. And then as we get more, they will send us more sponsorships the more we grow, and we can record them and put them in. So far, the experience has been fantastic, but at the same time, I really don't have anything to compare it to. And even if we did find something a little bit better now, I don't even know if I'd switch because we're so ingrained in there already.
Yeah, that's when I spoke on Anchor, it sounded like I didn't care for it, and that's not the case. It's just simple, and so
Yeah,
it's there's a very low ceiling in terms of what you can do when it comes to this, when you want to be extra. And so for my business model, it's the idea of creating separation between you and everybody else who does the same thing, because everybody has a podcast, right? So
Yeah.
that was my beef with it, not because it wasn't well worked. And I used Anchor before Spotify bought them, so I can only
Okay.
assume things have gotten much better since then. So
Mhm.
no knock on Anchor. I just knew that I transitioned from SoundCloud to Anchor, and then when I did that, at the time, the preference of the app was for you to record it straight from your phone. And I was like, you can only get so good audio on that. So that was a big turnoff. And so I transitioned into what I am using now, which is Ecamm, and it's fantastic. And so, but again, I'm a jack of all trades. So I've got audio engineering degree. Like, I've got a lot of talent, a lot of skills I can't use as a domesticated former DJ. So it's like I'm always looking for things that allow me to be the most creative I can be, and I'm only handicapped by myself. And so that's why I came to this. But no knock on Anchor at all. If it works for you and you got opportunities and the sponsorship, like that's awesome.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
apologize if I misspoke, sir.
No, you're good. I like I said, the way I said it, I gave you that impression. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I'm not shitting on Anchor publicly, because it's not the case. It's not the case.
Now, do you, if you don't mind me asking, do you edit directly on EKG?
I can. I
You
can.
can?
It's just that the way that this software is set up, they allow you to link your YouTube. And so
Mhm.
this goes direct to his YouTube streaming. And then in the YouTube studio, he can then make any edits he wants. And then I have the raw file, and then I have all of the audio files. All of the audio channels are separate. So if the mics are off, like you said, some things happen
Mhm.
sometimes. And so I get to spread that all out in a multi-track, and I can make it adjustments to where the final product sounds clean
Yeah.
as hell. So
Okay, I got you. Yeah, another one of the big appeals with this, like they brought on from what I've read, they brought on a video component. But when we started For the Love of Fit, Jake told me that he did this and it was on video too. And for me, I just like
yeah, a lot
not
of people. That's a lot of people.
I'm not as pretty, and I can't grow a beard like that.
Bro, I told you, I am a shiftless hobo. I am just not scared of putting my face out there.
I didn't really have a whole lot of interest in the video portion, just because, like, granted, when I listen to podcasts, sometimes it's nice to see the video, but just as far as like talking in general, and like I stammer and stutter a shit ton, and every now and again things get said that need to get edited out.
Mhm.
So I like the idea of having that little blanket of protection. Like, none of this stuff is going public until I vet it, I edit it, and then I send it off.
Yep. And that's kind of what led us to this whole conversation, is the idea of giving people what they want where they are. And so just the simple thing of running the audio out of my mixer into my standalone unit, it allows me to create an audio only file that I already have sweetened with all of my post-production stuff on it. And so then I literally have that wave file, and then it just takes a few minutes to save. I send that to Audacity, create an MP3 file, boom.
I was actually just about to ask if you've ever used Audacity. After I download from CleanFeed, all my all my editing is done through Audacity. There are some editing capabilities in Anchor, but it doesn't seem that intricate to me. So I do all my editing in Audacity, and it's free, and I've never had any issues with it, except for it's just so complicated that you really have to dig in and do some tutorials to learn it.
Yeah, it is an unglamorous digital audio workstation. Like it can do all the stuff that it can do, the things that Pro Tools does. Most people just use Pro Tools if they're going to do it. So Audacity, like you can rip samples and stuff the way that people do off of YouTube. Audacity allows you to do that in a heartbeat, and it's free. So it's like once you get that workflow down, it is a gem of an item to have. So no knock on Anchor. I will support Audacity because it's free, and I've used it to do many things in terms of just audio, especially with the podcast and with vocals. And so if you have any kind of issue with that, like you stated earlier, I have no problem. And since you're using Audacity, that makes it even easier. So I can break it down for you, and then you can look it up. But I will do as much as I can to make sure that those waveforms look clean as hell before it touches or before it gets to you. So
perfect. I might take you up on that one of these days.
Yes, sir.
See, building relationships. That's what this is all about. So, one of the things we touched on too is when we have a guest, I need to practice on having a sign off rather than that's enough. That's all.
It's you just have to lead the witness. That's it. Like it's like, again, when the time frame stretches out so far to where you're like yawning on camera, like everyone is, and the conversation just goes up and down because there's those natural lags in a conversation with a stranger or someone you're not like super cool with, especially with our guest the other week. You guys met on Instagram. Like there's no rapport build up before that. So transitioning from, okay, well, it's time to cut this off is a very easy thing to do. And once you get it, just like you do with the advertisements at the beginning, once you get something locked and loaded, it's going to come out. You're going to be able to do it naturally, and it's not going to be an issue. But you've got a problem, a self-aware problem of not wanting to do prep or put yourself in a position to just look at reference material and succeed. So once we get past that stupid thing that you have, it's going to be no problem. But yeah, it's just about making that effort, and you weren't motivated to do it until you were a guest.
I had to see it to understand it.
That's how it works a lot of the time.
Well, I'm stubborn as shit, man, and sometimes it takes that,
And
hey, buddy.
That's an aesthetic of this show that is a staple. It pays off in other parts. It's just when it comes to prep, it's not fun. It's never fun. But once you have a template and you can just kind of, copy and paste what you need to do for the specific guest or episode, it's really easy, man. It really is.
Things like that are exactly why I'm kind of glad that on our show we don't go on camera, because like we've known most of our guests, but at the same time, every now and again, one of them will run off on some tangent that we hadn't planned for, and like and being through COVID years, like not having to go into work anymore, working from home, no webcam on, you just can't help but just like.
Yep.
What are you? And just like all of the hand motions.
Yep.
So definitely glad that not on camera for that.
And sometimes we'll invite them on to talk about a calorie deficit, and they'll talk all about nothing involving a calorie deficit. It's one of those things. That was a whole.
Happened to a guy we know.
Happened to a guy we know. Didn't happen on our show. No siree.
Yep.
I will. If you want to go listen to that one, it's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, we rebranded that one to an interview as opposed to a
Yep.
calorie deficit episode. We had to. It was good information. It was a good time, but there
Yep.
was so much personal talk and not enough topic talk that we didn't feel comfortable labeling it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a definite check in the pro column for not going live. Most definitely.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Well, and then I ended up having a pretty good conversation with Dr. Chris Butler, but it was not how we normally do things. You know, he's also a guy that's in recovery, and he wanted to talk about everything but recovery. You know, like it's like, yeah, I'm sober, but have you thought about this and that? And it's still a really good conversation. And like I enjoyed it, but need to.
It's just a learning
Tim-
opportunity, man. Because
yeah,
that is a personality. That is a personality thing. And some people want to lean into the pain that caused them to grow, and other people are done with that pain and they just put it past them. So that's just a preference on his end. And you weren't expecting that because you know him personally, right?
yeah. He's
Yeah.
the guy. He's my chiropractor.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, and then Chris, if you hear this, I'm not talking shit. I really enjoyed it.
I felt like we had a good conversation.
Yeah, we had a great
You got-
conversation.
Yeah.
You about to break your back next time you see him.
Man, I have to get in contact with his wife.
Uh,
I have to get in contact with his wife and get her on. She is rad. She like told me my whole life without me saying a word. It was like just like energy reading shit. It was wild.
so
Get really close. Who are you?
right.
Yeah.
So did you go into that session expecting that to happen?
I walked in with an open mind because I'd never done like any sort of Eastern healing
Right.
anything. But I was like, if this helps me quit feeling like shit, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And just me being receptive to that, I guess, helped something.
Would you go
But
see
I was
psychic or something?
No, she does like the Tibetan bowls and hypnosis and like the rapid eye stuff. Like it was wild. It was wild, dude. And it was cool. Like I catch myself still doing stuff. Like so like this, where I touch my two fingers like this, and I catch myself breathing. That was something that she did in my hypnosis. And it's just when I'm stressed out, I just do it now. When I'm stressing out. Yeah, it's
That's
wild.
cool.
And then the other thing is I catch myself saying when I'm having conversations with people and I'm feeling their emotions on it, I say, I acknowledge this emotion, but it's not mine, so I'll let it go. And so I do that a lot now.
Say that?
Uh-huh. I've said that out loud to someone before. So I acknowledge how upset this is, but it's not mine, and I can't hold on to it.
Okay, just trying to think about this in perspective. You know, like I'm walking down the street, I see Jake. Hey, how's it going? You ask me, hey, how's it going? I don't know, man. I'm having a shit day. Like, hey, man, I got rear-ended. My car got wrecked. My dog ran away. My wife's about to leave me. You know, it's just a shit day. Then I look over at Jake. I acknowledge that you're upset.
No doubt.
I would just be looking like, all right, man, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go. Good to see you.
Kind of hate your guts right now, man.
A little bit.
No, I get it. No, it's not something I'm walking around and talking to people out in public, you know, like, but it was one of those things where it was a personal conversation. And I said, listen, I acknowledge this, but I can't hold on to your upset for you. I can't, you know, so it works. It works great. Cause you're like,
Yeah, not carrying someone else's baggage should feel pretty freeing.
it's pretty dope because I got my own shit. It's pretty heavy,
No
but, but anyway, so Danny, while you're here, we might as well talk about it.
Yeah, man.
So on For the Love of Fit, I know that I need to work on my tangents.
That's not exclusive to you.
Yeah. Well, my wild ADHD ass going off on, watch this Sean Connery interview in the middle of our Strictly Fitness podcast.
Was that a Google search?
No, that was
For
That was
that
just
was a ta-
that was
no, that was
freestyle.
a wild tangent because I talked about that comedian talking about Sylvester Stallone, and then I talked about Sylvester Stallone breaking Sean Connery's wrist, and then you segued from there. Like between the two of us, we're the perfect tangent storm.
it wasn't Steven Stallone, it was Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal breaking
Yeah,
Sean
yeah,
Connery's
yeah.
wrist.
That's
And
right.
I was like, Sean Connery totally thinks it's cool to hit women. And you're like, what? I was like, dude.
Yeah, that's a tangent bomb right there.
No,
Yeah, that was a bad one.
So you did to him what the chiropractor did to you.
yeah. Well, because he brought up Steven Seagal out of left field, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes, we're entering ADHD land.
We're doing
I got this. Welcome to my world. Here we go. And then
Nice.
that led to us talking about Tom Segura, which led to we talked about Judo Jean LaBelle for a little bit
we
there.
did. And then and
See,
then
that
Sean
ti-
Connery, and that entire thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, tangents. Tangents are fine if they keep the flow of conversation going in the right direction.
Okay. So since you just brought it up, this little thing that you say to people who project their feelings onto you, can you
Yes.
say that to yourself in the terms of the tangent so that way you don't share it and you say, this is not your thing? Let me not blurt this out because a light bulb popped off in my mind. And
You would be surprised how often I actually do that.
no, I won't be surprised because I've talked to you on a almost weekly basis for 3 years. So yeah, man. But I welcome it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it gives me a different perspective that I wasn't thinking of. When it's a random tangent, when it goes to wrestling or something like that, I'm learning. So this is your show. I'm here supporting you on your show. So if you want to talk about fucking Ultimate Warrior, we're going to talk about Ultimate Warrior. But I also have the tools here. So I have I have the interview chat, which is a window that allows me to talk to you while we are doing this with each other. So if I want to segue into wrestling, I can literally type segue into wrestling and misspell it terribly in the chat. So that way he can see it. And then once I slow down, the natural progression and the way that people end their sentences or the way they stop talking, there's usually, you can kind of sense when it's coming. And so if I've already said that and then you go, oh, so this thing about Vince McMahon, remember how we talked about that last week? It'll just go right into what we're doing. And it's a very simple thing that we can do on the fly without having to do the prep that you hate. So we have the tools at our disposal.
We might have to take that up just because it's like normally, like
Yeah.
we send out a punch list of the topics we want to do, and normally it's honestly kind of a rugged transition. It's just like, all right, cool, all right, next up. So why do we do this? Why do we, it's literally like a stop and restart. But
so as a
Okay.
remote producer, it allows me to have that same punch, that outline essentially. I can have it here, listen to the conversation, and hear tangents start to spiral, and then I just jump into the chat. Next thing, and we've all got the same outline, so then it just naturally shortens that tangent. So the tangents are still good because that's part of your personality, but it doesn't ruin the flow of your conversation.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning. I wasn't trying to say no tangents ever. It was more of
I was
like,
about, I was about to say, if we took away tangents, we wouldn't have a show.
yeah. But how about we rein that in, cowboy? Which, nope.
You did it. Now, so how can you say it? It's like psychology placebo.
See, for the difference between the shows. See, for us, we encourage it to the point where we came up with a tangent horn.
Yes. Love
And
it.
we just which we're still kind of working on the sound. Like, I think the last thing we've gone through like 3. I think the last one we agreed on was beep boop. So whenever we're about to go on a tangent, one of us just calls out beep boop, and that's like, hey, permission granted, do your thing, you sail your ship, you do what you got to do.
That's awesome.
Come back to the fleet when you're done. But yeah, so just for flow of conversation wise, it's just something I have to, for me, I have to be aware of for sure on both shows. And basically, what I'm doing on my Patreon, um, that is just a whole tangent. That whole thing is just a tangent. So it's just me. Here's my topic that I'm going to rant and rave about, and then where it goes, and then, 15, 20 minutes later, all right, good night, everybody.
So it's your soapbox.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it. That's all that's going to be. I am I'm gonna have to bring my equipment over to you, oh wizard of audio,
No problem.
because I am having a difficult time understanding how to get everything set up the right way.
Yep.
With I got a new microphone and a whole pretty much just podcast rig, Danny, and so
He's
it won't
clearly
be.
not using.
Yeah, I'm definitely using the Chromebook. Definitely still using the Chromebook, but
Well,
yeah, once I get that done the right way, oh, the girls are home. The big girls are home.
that face. That's the face of that's the face of
He's so
pleasure.
scared.
Gentlemen, would it be okay if you two would talk amongst yourself for a little bit, and I will be right back?
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thing,
you.
brother.
Oh, that's hilarious. So I'm just gonna put a placeholder there for him while he comes back. I didn't set up so I have obviously scenes that I can, and I have a little stream deck here that allows me to quickly bounce in real time. So it's like, it feels like it's produced, right? So
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no problem doing this and extending that courtesy to you guys because
Yeah.
simply based off proximity. So
Yeah. I'll have to set up some time and kind of collab a little bit. 'Cause some of the things that you add in, it seems like I would be definitely helpful to us. I'm just wondering how much of it needs to be on video to be done.
sure, that's a good point. And
Yeah,
it
'cause
doesn't, because I can still
Okay.
do this from an audio only capacity. If you are set in your ways about not being seen on camera, which is
Mhm.
half the people who do podcasting, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
We'll set that up, and I can create scenes that would just have a picture of you while you talk. Whatever that would be. It's literally as easy as me taking the picture off and then creating the backdrop for you guys. And if you guys are talking about, you have topics that you want, you can get supporting document or supporting pictures and video and clips and stuff like that. And so that could be the video element of your show without you having to show your face.
Okay. Yeah, we might have to tinker into that just because, like I said, I stutter and stammer a lot.
Sure.
Jake doesn't. He just kind of pauses a lot between words sometimes, sometimes right in the middle of the sentence.
Yeah.
Because you can't say fuck every other word, man. It's just not.
No, and plus, we do a health and fitness podcast. It doesn't happen often, but every now and again, some knowledge gets dropped, and a couple minutes later, we realize, wait, hold up, that's wrong. And then we have to cycle back and kind
Sure.
of edit it out. It doesn't happen hardly at all, but it has happened a couple of times, and thankfully we caught it before we published. But
Yeah.
just because things like that, just that overall paranoia is kind of set into me.
It's warranted, man. There's been plenty of times that we've started conversations and especially when his old co-host was on the show, there were times where it got really deep and uncomfortable and vulnerable, and
Mhm.
none of us had that conversation beforehand. It just kind of went into that because of the nastiness of sobriety and the challenges of it. So but that to me, being what they call the normie on the outside looking in, it gave me a fly on the wall view of that struggle, because I support people, I support organizations that help people, because I have family history with, I have abuse problems in my substance abuse problems in my family. So it's something that touches us all. So being able to see that and then being able to interject and to provide outside perspective, it turned into therapy for us, all three of us. Even if I was Dr. Phil most of the time, I'm still learning from an account that I can't and I haven't experienced. So there are gems everywhere, and
Mhm.
the more vulnerable you are, the more poignant they tend to be. However, if you're going off top, if you're just freestyling and you read the wrong article before you start talking, you're liable to Freudian slip. So
Mhm.
doing this to where it's not a live stream, to where it's on record, or to where it's just straight to disc and then chopping it up. Because what I like to do is I watch the show back tomorrow. I'll go through and I'll
Mhm.
drop timestamp markers on little areas that I could cut into clips for social media, right? So that same process will work in terms of quality assurance, right? So watching back, oh, let me make sure, and then you're doing the same thing. You say, hey, at 30 minutes, I said something wild. Let's chop that up.
Mhm.
No problem. So
That's why I always try and listen back to the episode too, because I wouldn't say I'm necessarily worried, but I do know that sometimes I shoot directly out of my ass instead of my mouth, and then it comes out sounding like words. And
The very first episode we ever published, I think I caught it before you did, Jake. First episode we ever published, I was all excited about it, and with Anchor, you have to this file size when you upload it can only be so big.
right.
So I've kind of gathered that I have to break everything up into 15 or 20-minute clips and put them in that way. Our first episode was about an hour and a half. It was pretty long, so did that, and then I was listening to it with my dad, and I realized that we jumped an entire topic, like just out the blue. We just missed everything, jumped an entire topic. I'm like, what the hell? Keep listening to it. At the very end, after our outro, that topic cycles back. I'm like, oh, yeah, like I shuffled it all up. I changed it all up. So I'm freaking out. I get on the app, which they do have a mobile app, which actually it's not bad. It's not as good as the website, but it's not bad. I get on, I change it back up, put it back in, because I didn't want to disappoint all our listeners, which at that point was me and my dad. So now ever since then, I always try to make sure that I always cycle back to it, or Jake does, just to make sure that in my exhaustion and the late night, nothing slipped through the cracks.
No doubt.
yeah, there was what was it? Not was the last episode? You're like, are you sure you want to put this out there? And I was like, yes, I do.
Yeah, it's just a very, very quick feeler. Hey man, you good? Yep, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you really that mad about this? Yes, I am.
Are you talking about the last Sober Swole or the last Love of Fit?
For the love of fit.
I haven't edited that one yet. Which topic? What was that?
When I was talking about my plumbing issues.
Oh, that's right. Yep. I cycled back and I made sure. Yeah, you were talking about the worst month of your life, and like, and damn, I felt I acknowledged your feelings.
Yes.
And I
appreciate
recognized that you were pissed off.
Well played, sir.
Thank you.
Oh no, that was something I was just like, nope, it's going out there.
Yep. I knew that you were heated on that one, so I intentionally waited a couple days and made damn sure that you went back through and listened to that one before I even advertised it was out, because I didn't in the heat of the moment I didn't want you to be saying something that would piss somebody off.
Well,
that you
in the
cared
heat of the
about.
moment,
That you cared about.
It's true. It was the heat of the moment shown in her eyes. All right.
That's a lyric from some song that I forgot.
Yep. So the song is called "Heat of the Moment."
There it is.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
So there you go, voice.
So right now we're at 38 minutes, and our guest stated before we started that 30 minutes was about the time. So in the future, I could simply go in the interview chat and just say time, or let's let our guest go. He has work to do, and then you could just go, well, I know you've got work to do. Thank you again for, and it leads right into the natural progression of what you do anyway. So.
Well, hey man, I know you got work to
do. Yeah, I gotta hop back on and get some stuff done. But hey, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it. I'm definitely gonna collab with you guys a little bit on how to improve our podcast a little bit more. And for any and all your health and fitness needs, check out For the Love of Fit.
There you go.
Very good.
And then are you still slinging shirts?
Am I still slinging shirts?
Yeah.
No. I closed down, brother, with the new job. I closed down the business, closed down my liability insurance, closed down the website. Blake's Health and Fitness is temporarily closed. Don't know for how long yet. Come on, bro. Why you gotta do that to me? You know it hurts.
It hurts me, man. I need a new shirt. Anyway.
It hurts. It hurts, but it'll be back. It'll be back.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much for joining us again.
Hey, not a problem.
I'll see you, Friday? Or I'll talk to you Friday?
Yeah, can you do Saturday instead?
Sure.
There it is.
All right. You think? And we'll have to get a topic before then, but we'll figure it out.
Whatever.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Danny.
You guys have a good night.
You too.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Danny Blake. He is the brains behind the operation that is For the Love of Fit. That's the other show that I proudly co-host. And yeah, man, this episode is just straight up about making our shows better. And I'm glad that he could jump on a very short notice.
Yeah, no doubt. So since you brought up Patreon, I'm curious what your experience has been so far.
It's a very simple platform to use. The podcasting software that they work with is pretty easy to use and edit and add sounds and music to.
Nice.
I still have to go back through and re-record my my first episode.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dude, I recorded it. I recorded it like 3 different times to make sure, because I got it. I was making sure I was getting right, and I was listening to it back, and then I was like, something's off about this. Something's off about this. And by the time I got done with the last time, and I was happy with how I said it and how everything flowed, I was like, my voice is horrible. Because there was some weird cold that everyone had. All the kids brought home, as per tradition, that I get. And I was talking like I'd been smoking for years. So,
So no tea. There's your process right there. Add that. Have something to support your throat. Something that will allow you to go at that length. Because if you practice, if you make it part of your pre-record routine, to where you get to where you're familiar with it or comfortable, you can do it at a lower voice. You can whisper to yourself. You can do things that professionals who are in some sense of broadcasting and use their voice, you're not going to hear them talk a lot. You're not going to see these artists who go on world tours talk a lot. They're going to be quiet, and then when they have the time to themselves, they're going to have humidifiers. They're going to have, tools that allow them to use their instrument for a long period of time. And so I don't know if were you dipping at that time as well? That can't be good for the moisture balance in your mouth.
Yeah, but that was towards the tail end there.
So maybe not so much a problem, but isn't a good opportunity for you to have a cup of tea nearby, so that way you can, in between takes, just give yourself the ability to sound on point once you get it down to the best of your ability.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But so, and you see, the day before, as I recorded For the Love of Fit with Danny, it was bad. It was bad. You could hear me, because I was into my because I was having a hard time breathing, and my throat was starting to get more and more.
So when it comes to working out, when it comes to getting back into your routine, you know what not to do with your body before you're going to work out, right? You're not going to go do something strenuous. You're not going to put yourself in a position to fail where you normally wouldn't. So you just have to parlay that process into For the Love of Fit. And it's not going to be hard. You just have to make the effort, because the change won't come without something different being done, right? And even if you push back at it, that's normal, because My children, your children do that every day. Stuff that they normally have no problem with, they just feel a type of way about it at this moment and turns into an explosion, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you can put that into your process. You can, and you have overcome so many other things that this is on the way low scale of that. So you got a lot to tap into to motivate yourself to get your template down, whether that's the process for your voice, for your vocal cords, for the topics, for your tangents, all of that stuff, man. If you make the little bit of effort to just prep, and it doesn't have to be serious. It's like meal prep. I don't meal prep. I know that it would do wonders for my body if I did. So you're not gonna hear me complain about my figure because I know I know I take shortcuts. I know that meal prep is not fun, and I'm going to use the non-fun part of that to motivate myself in a different direction. If that's a fast food window, so be it. But it's like, I know in my heart of hearts that that's one of my struggles. And so I have to set myself up for success by not having a bunch of junk food in the cupboards. I have kids. That's tough. I know I have half of a thing of ice cream I ate yet last night, and I'm going to destroy that when we're done with this because I burnt another 2,200 calories today. But it's like, if I instead had my meal prep ready and I just went out there and got a healthy snack, it would pay dividends in the long run. So if I've got to start doing that and you got to hold me accountable so you can start doing templates, fuck it, dude. Let's do it. Whatever. I'm game.
All right.
It's not gonna be hard.
Is fun.
It's just the I call it, or I refer to static friction, right? It's that thing, you know that you can move that thing, but you have to push harder than you need to just to get it going. Same thing. And no pin clicks either.
No what?
No pin clicking either.
Oh.
I thought that was Danny. And I heard it earlier and I was like, ooh, if that's just kidding, bro. I can just hear it. And it's just one of those things to where if you were teaching someone, like as a teacher, right? And their student just going, you might not like that.
Whatever do you mean?
And like the kids, the house noise, the heater, all that stuff, that's just ambient noise, man. That's stuff that's outside of your control. So we'll deal with that shit. But like the stuff you can't control,
let's control it.
we've seen what it looks like on the opposite side.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
like you say, all the time, you're like, we've done this long enough to where we should be humming by now. And we will be. And it'll come quick because we've gone through several years of winging it. We know how to wing it. We've got that down, man. Tangents, I'll reel that in. I've got an interview chat. I'm going to add to it. Doesn't matter. We just have to make that little effort to switch up what we've been doing, and it's going to change things. Like so my inspiration from that interview was the backdrop we have now. I made the other one for you guys just 30 minutes. This took me 30 minutes and it looks way fucking better. But
It's clean.
I have the time. I've had the time and the experience to struggle with scenes, to struggle with trying to get it to where it looks just decent. And now I can make it look super clean and I'm using decent energy. So that's just it, man. We'll get there. We'll hold each other accountable. And I mean, just like you texting me earlier, I was working. I was in the rain moving stuff and I stopped and I go, in the middle of a job, what's up? So that way, by the time I was done, you would have said your piece and I can respond back to you. And it was about the show. So I was super excited about it. I was like, awesome. He's doing it on his own. He's making himself uncomfortable to make himself better. Anytime someone does that, bro, they get my time and attention.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I was telling you earlier. Is that my biggest fear has always been wasting your time because I can get up and talk out of my butt no matter what I want when I want, and I have a platform for that now. But so it's just we've been doing this long enough, and then we have enough content on the internet
No doubt.
now that like still I want the show to help somebody.
Yeah.
And I want the guests to come on and be comfortable to tell their stories and then tell their story how they want to tell it.
Well, speaking of that, I skydiving. Went skydiving on Sunday, and the guy who was on my back, his name was Jonathan. He was asking, you get very comfortable. Have you been skydiving?
No.
So, first time you go, you have to have someone on your back, tandem. And so
Mhm.
they basically have all the controls. They make sure that you land safely, and they kind of give you a little bit of control in the middle. But you get very close to them, proximity wise, and you just in that close space. It feels better to just have a casual conversation, right? And in that casual conversation, when we got done, he was like, "Oh, that's so great, blah blah blah. If you do anything with social, da da da." And I was like, "Actually," and then I laid into this what we do, and I was like, and so the guy, because we were talking about you with the Marines in the plane, and I was like, my buddy is a recovering alcoholic, and uh like we have a show that we literally do about sobriety, and his eyes lit up. And I was like, I don't know if you have any of that experience that personally or with your your close family or friends. I was like, but I imagine that might be a thing in the skydiving community. And he just smiled real big. So like we now have an in to do something with them, and it might be something that I wind up doing for them in the same capacity. And I would love that. That'd be, if that gets me closer to jumping out of plane sooner, that's a win.
Networking.
That's
Networking is key.
exactly. Networking is key. So, and those opportunities come out of left field. But when you connect with somebody like that in an intimate space for the sake of your survival, like it's easy to want to extend that conversation. So I could reach out to them and say, "Hey, come on the show and do the same thing that your buddy did, your co-host for your show did tonight." So we can do that. And the cleaner we make this look and the more organized we are when we have people on, they're going to be like, man, you guys, man, we're going to blow away people that are our guests. And if we can do that with the people we bring on, that's going to translate, man. It really will.
Well, I'm really excited about the future of the show and where it's going. Um, it's around 9 o'clock. I know that you had a real rough day and you got more coming.
Did.
I've got littles to carry upstairs that someone currently is not in the condition to carry them upstairs.
Perfect.
And I do believe that we handled all the things that we needed to handle this evening.
I concur.
Well, thank you for listening to the Sober Swole podcast, everybody. Once again, thank you to our special guest, Danny Blake. We'll get this out ASAP.
Yes, I will. Again, I'm looking at the levels right now. The audio only is popping, so I'm gonna run this through the gamut of post production and break it down from wave to MP3 for you and Patreon it, whatever you want to do. Like you can all that stuff. So, and for your Patreon, like you can use the things that we ramble on about, or even the things that we're concise about, for your rambles on your Patreon. So if we can make it tight here, so you have more stuff for there, you're winning twice, man.
And I'm trying to get paid for the same work twice. That's exactly what
Oh yes, yes. Sir.
that's the dream right there, baby. Anyway, have a good night, everyone.
Bye. Warhorse, wake your ass up.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
Chocolate and vanilla swirl.